I need mental stimulation more than anything.
More than anything.
More than anything.
Can I talk?
Don't believe them. Don't believe them for a bit. Don't buy it. I have never met a woman that has claimed to require mental stimulation that has actually meant it. Never. Never. I have yet to meet someone who says that and actually means it. Because as soon as they say something like that, at first I used to believe it. I used to hear it and I would get excited because I myself, I love broad concepts. And if you guys have been, sticking around and with me long enough, then you've heard some of the things I've talked about. I've broken down the myth of 10%. I've talked about epistemology, existentialism. I've talked about solipsism and phenomenalism. I've talked about several different topics. And these topics are extremely profound, broad, and exhaustive. Whenever I've talked about these topics to other women who claim to be sapiophiles and sapiosexuals and claim to want mental stimulation, guess what happens? They think I'm weird. They think I'm an overthinker. They think I'm overanalyzing everything. And I'm like, I'm not. I'm just talking about some in-depth, profound topics because I thought you were a sapiophile. By the way, for those of you that don't know what sapiophile is, that's exactly what it is. A sapiophile is someone who holds intelligence as the highest regard and the highest quality in a person. And the root word for sapiophile is actually a derivative of two words, one in Latin, one in Greek. The Latin word is sapient, the Greek word is phile, and it's literally a lover of wisdom. Sapient in Latin is intelligence or wisdom. Phile in Greek is lover of. So it's quite literally the lover of wisdom. That's where we get the term from, and that's the proper etymology and origin of it. But in saying that, man, I swear, like, it's so annoying, man, because I hear this so often, and it's just a trendy thing to say. People will say anything that's trendy, even though they don't know what they're talking about. And I had a couple incidents where one woman literally blocked me because of my take on existentialism and my take on philosophy and my take on life in general. She asked me what my take on philosophy was. So I told her I'm an existentialist. And she was like, what is that? I broke it down. I explained it elaborately because I want you to understand what I'm saying. So I broke it down in layman terms. And she texted me later on that night saying this was a weird experience. I didn't expect it to happen. And before I could write back, I was already blocked. I was like, I thought you were a sapiophile though, you know what I'm saying? Another girl told me that she was big on psychology. So I asked her a couple psychological questions that dealt with the human behavior. And she didn't even respond. She just left it unread. And another time, a girl told me she was like, oh, well, everyone has their own opinions. I was like, you're not giving me yours though. So whenever I hear it, honestly, I just think it's bullshit. Don't believe it.
Your parents, are they aware? Like, how have they kind of taken this?
They actually recently found out. The way they even found out, it's not even like them finding out themselves. It was somebody hating on me, and they might see this. Fuck you. They went and they made a Facebook account, and they DM'd my mom, and they told her.
Is this person like related to you, or?
I don't know. I honestly expected them to find out themselves because my dad watches porn. And I myself have been on Pornhub plenty of times where I see myself as a top ad or like a suggested. So I'm like, I already know.
Hey guys, so I have been spending the day taking photos for a friend of mine's wedding. I took their engagement photos at a beach about 1.5 years ago, and now it's time for their wedding. And the honest to God truth is that I'm having a really hard time being here. She has a son, I think he's 3 or 4, and she's getting married to her son's dad. And I didn't think it was going to be really hard for me until the vows. And, it's like one of those moments again where it hits you that you're really a single parent and that your kid's parent decided that you weren't good enough, and so they decided to leave. And their ceremony was beautiful. He cried, she cried. There was not one dry eye in the entire church. And one of the things that she said during her vows was, and this is not verbatim, but she said, one of the first promises, and maybe it was the first promise you ever made me, was to always be here for me and our son. And ever since you made that promise, every promise since has been kept. And I just lost it behind the camera. I lost it because I wish that that was me. And as happy as I am for her, it's really hard for me. And when he started reciting his vows, talking about how much he can't even find the words to explain how much he loves her, and just how he'd never ever give up on her, and how he just thanked her and apologized for places where he was at fault, really crushed me. And it just always leads me back to this feeling of just feeling really defeated. And again, it's like I'm so happy for her, but it's like, God, why couldn't that be me? So I'm gonna go finish shooting her reception.